Hello friends, welcome to this video session. In this video, we are going to discuss about gas power cycles. It is a continuation of previous video. In previous lecture, we have discussed about how the efficiency of open Brighton cycle has been calculated, derived, and what is the importance, what are the basic description about uh, the open Brighton cycle we have discussed. And this video we will discuss about about open cycle and closed cycle differences, as well as I will try to solve one problem. I will take one example problem and try to solve, so that it will be easy for you to understand how we can apply the concept of thermodynamics derivation into solving or used to solve a problem numericals. And finally we will see about what is actual Brayton cycle, how it differs from the ideal Brayton cycle. So with that we will close this. So these three topics we are going to see discuss about in this video. Now let's start with a simple problem about Brayton cycle. So I have I have chosen a problem like this. The problem goes the statement of the problem is, in an air standard Brayton cycle, it's clearly mentioned that it's a air as the medium, and Brayton cycle it's clearly mentioned. The minimum and maximum temperatures are given 300 degree Kelvin and 1200 degree Kelvin respectively. The pressure ratio is that which maximizes the network developed by the cycle per unit mass of airflow. Mass flow rate is unit they are given. And pressure ratio, they said that it is the maximum, optimum pressure ratio they clearly mentioned in this problem. But they are not given any pressure ratio value. So we need to calculate the pressure ratio from the optimum pressure ratio. And they also ask us to calculate the compressor and turbine work, each in kilojoules per kilogram of air, and thermal efficiency of the cycle. These are the things we need to find out in this problem. And first we write down all the data given in the problem. The first data is given is the maximum temperature. From the TS diagram we know that the maximum temperature will be the T3, and minimum temperature is T1, that is 300 degree Kelvin. And then they have clearly mentioned that the pressure ratio is the optimum pressure ratio. Optimum pressure ratio is nothing but the when the pressure ratio is in this equal to the optimum pressure ratio, the net work done will be the maximum, as well as in the optimum pressure ratio, the efficiency of the cycle will be maximum. So that is the basic definition of optimum pressure ratio. But the formula for optimum pressure ratio is clearly derived in the last video, and we are directly substituting the value now. The optimum pressure ratio RP is equal to the ratio between T max to the T minimum to the power of gamma divided by 2 into gamma minus 1. We know the value of T maximum and T minimum, and we also know the value of gamma. That is equal to 1.4. So if substitute all the value in this problem and calculate, then we get the result as 11.3. So RP pressure ratio is 11.3. So we know the value of T3, T1, and pressure ratio RP. And the basic thing we need to remember in this return cycle is, if we know the temperature value of each and every state of the process cycle, then it will be easy for us to proceed further. That is, we can easily calculate the work done, turbine work done, and compressor work done, as well as the efficiency of the turbine. So already we know that the problem itself is given T1 and T3. Our intention is to calculate T2 and T4 here. So to calculate T2, we know that 1 to T2 is the process, isentropic process, and and we know we are going to relate pressure and temperature. Then we have to go for T2 by T1 to the into is equal to P2 by P1 to the power of gamma minus 1 divided by gamma. Okay, that is the relation, and we know the value of T1 pressure ratio, and gamma value. If substitute everything here, we will get the value of T2 as 600.21 degree Kelvin. This is from this equation. This is how we can calculate the T2 value. And when we consider the process 3 to 4, again that is also isentropic expansion process. So the ratio we are relating temperature and pressure, and when we try to relate these two, it will be equal to P3 by T4. That is equal to P3 by P4 to the power gamma minus 1 divided by gamma. So ratio P3 is equal to P2 because constant pressure. The 2 to 3 and 1 to 4 both are constant pressure process, heat addition as well as heat rejection. respectively. So P3 is equal to P2 and P4 is equal to P1. So we know that ratio between P2 by P1 is nothing but compressor ratio. That value is 11.3. Already we have calculated in previously, and substitute all the value, we'll get the value of T3. Sorry, T4 we'll get that value. So now we have known the value of T1, T2, T3 as well as T4. Once we calculate all these things, it is easy for us to calculate calculate the remaining value like heat supply, compressor work, turbine work. The formulas are only related term deal with temperature and the specific heat value. Heat supply is taking place between the process 2 to 3. So that the equation is Cp into T3 minus T2 T2. So substitute all the given all the value known value, we will get 602.79 as the heat supplied value. And same way, we can easily calculate WC compressor work and WT turbine work with the same relation CP. Compressor works takes place between the process 1 and 2, and turbine process is between 3 and 4. So the temperature difference is 2 to 1 and 3 to 4 respectively. Replace all the value or substitute all the known value here, and you get the value of WC as well as WT. The value which we are getting as WC is 301.71 kilojoules per kilogram, and WT turbine work is 603.21 kilojoules per kilogram. And thermal efficiency formula, we know that output by input. Output is the net work done. Input is the heat supplied. So net work done is nothing but the difference between turbine work and minus or turbine work and the compressor work. And heat supplied is Q23 heat addition. All the value already we have calculated, and we have to substitute all the value here, and we will get the thermal efficiency is 50.2 percentage. And you note down all the value here. This is the solution for Brayton cycle, the given problem. And guys, if you observe, it is very simple. No, there is no other problem is simple as like this. So it's easy for you guys to score mark as well. Next, we see what is the main difference between open cycle as well as closed Brayton cycle. See, if you consider, I request everyone to consider on the left hand side of the slide, and that diagram it represents that the schematic diagram of open Brayton cycle. Now, if you observe, air is sucked into the compressor and air rejected from the turbine, both are into the ambient, or surrounding or environment. Since the air is taken from the surrounding and sent back to the surrounding, it is called open cycle. Whereas in the right side, if you see, air is not taken from the surrounding, it circulated inside the cylinder, sorry, inside the cycle or the process system. So it is called closed cycle. And in open cycle, air enter into the from the atmosphere to the compressor, where it get compressed. Because of compressor, temperature and pressure increases. This high pressure, high temperature air, no, it's represented in blue color. Air is entered into the combustion chamber where fuel is added into the chamber. Yellow color is arrow in the combustion chamber, where combustion chamber combustion takes place. Because of that, temperature drastically increases, and high temperature, high pressure gas, not air, gas. Again, if you observe that, you can clearly understand, and it is in the marked as red color. So gas enters into turbine, and after expansion takes place, the exhaust gas or air gas will be sent back to the ambient temperature or ambient condition or surrounding, or atmosphere even anywhere. Whereas in closed Brayton cycle, air is not taken from the cycle, no, atmosphere. It is circulated again and again. And the second difference is, instead of direct combustion chamber, we are using heat exchanger as the combustion chamber. Combustion chamber, and we are using one more part called the bottom. You can see it's a heat output region. Where we are using another heat exchanger where heat rejection takes place. It acts as a cooling tower. Remaining process are same. And the one more important point is, the in both conditions, part of the energy generated in the turbine is used to run the compressor, and remaining part of the energy is used to convert for, or is going out for the useful power output. It may be connected to either generator or some other place, so that we can use that as for electric power generation, electrical energy generation. This is the main difference between open cycle and closed cycle. And now we will see what is the actual Brayton cycle, how it works. Okay, there are 4 points you need to remember in actual Brayton cycle. First point is the compression and expansion both are not isentropic process. In actual ideal condition, both are isentropic. In actual, it is not isentropic. There is an increase in entropy at the end of the each process. This point you need to understand that. And second point is the actual work input in the compressor is more because of increase in the entropy, and the actual work output from the turbine is less because of increase in the turbine entropy in the turbine size. So actual work and actual work, actual work input to the compressor is more, and actual work done by the turbine or work done or output from the turbine is very less. And third point to be remember is we are going to introduce two concepts, two new terms. One is isotropic efficiency of compressor and isotropic efficiency of turbine. So apart from the remaining term, as it's similar to ideal Brayton cycle, and these two terms are different from previous one, ideal cycle. And fourth point we need to remember is there is a small pressure drop takes place when heat is added as well as heat is rejected. In previous ideal condition, heat addition, heat rejection takes place when pressure remains constant, whereas in actual condition it's not possible. There will be small change in the pressure drop in while adding heat as well as rejecting the heat. This point these are the four important points we need to remember. Now here I have compared with the ideal load and actual load. Left side you can see the TS diagram is represent ideal load. Right side you can see the actual load. It's very simple. 1 to 2 and 3 to 4 in the left hand side. It's a constant isotropic process. Whereas in actual load it will not be constant. So you can see instead of 1 to 2 actual, it goes entropy increases from 2 to 2 dash. So 1 to 2 dash is the actual one dotted line. And again same thing, instead of 3 to 4 it goes to 3 to 4 days. Slight increase in the entropy. This increase in the entropy because of irreversibility increase. At the same time, the heat addition and heat rejection is not takes place in the constant pressure. Pressure will not remain constant. There will be small drop in the pressure. You can see the difference in the P2 P3 line as well as P4 and P1 line. This is the main difference. And as I said, there are two new terms, which we are introduced apart from the existing one. One is turbine efficiency, isentropic efficiency of compressor, and isentropic efficiency of turbine. Isentropic efficiency of compressor is defined as the ratio between actual work done to the ideal work done in the compressor. Actual work done represents Cp into T2 minus T1 because a compression takes place between the process T2 2 to 1. Whereas ideal load is Cp into T2 dash minus T1 because compression takes place between the process 2 dash and 1 or 1 to 2 dash. And we know that Cp into T is H enthalpy, specific enthalpy, so that you can easily convert this into H2 minus H1 divided by H2 dash minus H1. This is a isentropic efficiency of compressor. And isentropic efficiency of turbine is defined as the ideal work done at the compressor, sorry, not compressor, ideal work done or work output at turbine and actual work output at the turbine. To be clear, it is isentropic turbine efficiency is the nothing but is equal to the ratio between actual work done to the ideal work done at turbine. In actual work done is nothing but Cp. No, it takes place between the process 3 and 4 days, so that we can easily find the difference. Take the difference between T3 and T4 days. Whereas ideal actual load, sorry, not ideal load, it is takes place between the process 3 and 4. So we can easily replace T3 minus T4. The ratio of these two is nothing but the isentropic efficiency of turbine. And we know that Cp into T is enthalpy, specific enthalpy. So we can replace the Cp T3 as H3 and Cp T4 dash as H4 dash. So that entropy, isentropic entropy of turbine is nothing but H3 minus H4 dash divided by H3 minus H4 dash. These two terms is introduced apart from the remaining efficiency calculation in the formula. That's all, guys. So in this video we had discussed about we have solved one problem and we have discussed what is happening actually between the open Brayton cycle as well as the closed Brayton cycle, and we have identified what is the difference between what is actually happening in the actual Brayton cycle. And in actual Brayton cycle, we have introduced and derived two terms. One is isentropic compression work, compression efficiency, and other one is isentropic turbine efficiency. These two terms we have derived. Okay, with this we will close this video. And next video we will try to see solve if possible one more problem, and we can go for regenerative heat therapy, Brayton cycle. Till then, see you. Bye bye. Take care.